So as I've been telling you, today I'm with a Nigerian artist. He goes by the names of Praiz, and of course, as you have seen his song, so like let's now start with the interview. So Praiz, welcome to KC2.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. How you doing, bro?
Okay, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're surviving and hoping that the pandemic is over. But aside that, we're good. We're good. We're working. We're keeping the grind up.
Okay, let's start with like your music journey. Like, when did your music start?
So for me, music started in the church because I used to play the drums in church. Basically, I started off as a drummer, and when I got into the university, I was always going to the studio to record live, record jams, live track-ins. So then I learned how to produce. From learning how to produce, I decided one day to see what it feels like to be behind the booth. So I produced a song, and I went behind the booth, I recorded myself, and I played it to a couple of my friends, and everyone was like, "Yo, like this is amazing. I think you should record more songs." And I was like, "Okay, I'll try." So I started, recorded a couple of songs, tried to put them on radio, and everyone was really loving my songs. And in 2008, I decided to go for the Canadian edition of MTN Project Fame West Africa, and where I came third. And for me, that was like literally the beginning of me doing music mainstream.
Okay, talking about the Project Fame West Africa, you were known before going to the Project Fame West Africa. Like, what made you go there? What made you audition for that competition?
So for me, being on the show was an opportunity to establish a fan base on a faster level, and just try to put my face out there so people will be able to recognize the face and the sound, like my vocals, the kind of music I do. For me, I just felt it was a perfect opportunity to take my music to a different level. So I decided to go for the show, regardless of the fact that a couple of people where I was staying knew me, but I thought it was more of an advantage if I was on the show to get more recognition.
Did you have a dream of becoming an artist like when you were still young?
Nah, I wanted to play soccer. I wanted to be a footballer. In my head, I thought I was going to play for Barcelona FC. As a kid, I always wanted to be a footballer. But life has its ways, and I don't regret being a musician because to me, I feel fulfilled. But if I wasn't doing music, I'm sure I'd have been playing soccer.
And you've been famous in Nigeria plus the continent and also in the world. What are the challenges that you have faced when you're growing to be famous all over the world? What are the challenges that you have faced both in your country and also worldwide?
Starting off as a musician, challenges I faced as a musician when I was getting into the industry, it was hard because my sound was different. I come from a country where a certain kind of music was dominant. Like the club music was really dominant, and I was coming into the industry with a different sound, with more like the R&B sound, and it took me time. It took a lot of patience because I needed to prove to people that I was different, and the kind of music I would create that would stand the test of time. So it took a lot of hard work, it took a lot of persistence, it took a lot of consistency. It took me time. I'm not gonna lie, even when I went into the industry, it took me 3 years to get my first hit song. But after then, it's been hits after hits, and it just takes a lot of patience, especially when you're coming to an industry with a different sound.
And you released your debut album back in 2014, and like I
Yes, sir.
want you to tell me how has been that journey for like the 6 years past. How has been the journey since like you released your debut album?
Yeah, I mean, since my debut album, it's been an amazing journey. It's been growth. When I look at my sound, production, lyrics, vocal abilities, like it's just been growth. I can see the progress in my music. And I remember when I put out my first album. My first album is called the Rich and Famous album. It was titled after one of my hit songs, actually the song that changed my life. And it was a double album, the R&B album and the Afro pop album. The R&B album had 12 tracks, and the Afro pop had 14 tracks. In total, it was like 26 tracks on one album. It was a double album, and I was really excited because, as it being my first album, it was an album that broke records. It was number one on the R&B world R&B charts. And for me, like it meant so much to me because I was a new act. That was my first album, and I was just only hoping for the best. And it was a great way to put out my first album, to launch myself mainstream. And I mean, since then I put out two EPs. I put out an album. So right now I have literally three albums and two EPs. And I mean, so far it's been amazing. It's been so much growth, and I'm excited. And I mean, big ups to my fans and the people who support me.
Let's talk about the EP first. Like you have a new EP which is called To the Moon, and how has been
The
the feedback?
feedback has been amazing. I put out my new EP called To the Moon. It was actually it was worked on during this quarantine period. And since the lockdown, I've been in the studio for the past 4 months, and I literally spend at least 10 hours every day in the studio. So I was able to create that amazing body of work, which features the likes of MI, Ice Prince, Neola, who's an amazing singer from Nigeria, and my younger brother, King. And the reception has been amazing. It's been topping the charts um, here in the country, and it's been on the major playlists. So I'm really excited that everyone's loving this new project.
And you have worked with some big artists like Shay Shay and Wizkid. And like, I want you to tell me how was the vibe working with those big artists like Wizkid, Shay Shay, and some other people that you have worked with.
Yeah, I mean, in my course of my career, I've been blessed to work with a lot of amazing artists. I've worked with Wizkid, I've worked with Kenny Lattimore, I've worked with Diana King, I've worked with Abilo Logomba, Sarkodie, um, Obi Trice. I mean, to name a few, like I've been blessed to work with a lot of great artists. And I mean, working with Wiz, especially according to your question, it's always a vibe. I've known Wiz even before his present success. So I mean, we're buddies, and we respect ourselves. We know our music ain't the same, but we have mutual respect for our kinds of music. And I mean, working in the studio with Wiz was one of the most organic recordings I've ever made. And I remember my first collaboration with Wizkid was Sisi, and like it was a vibe, and I'm glad that it came out to become one of Africa's biggest songs.
And who are your influencers in the music industry, like worldwide? Who do you look up to?
So worldwide musicians I look up to. That's quite tough. I look up to the likes of Babyface. Um, I'm a big fan of John Legend. Um, Great admirer of Joe. I'm a very R&B. I'm an R&B guy. So like this would be like my top three. This would be like my top three. So, John Legend, Babyface, and Joe.
Ah, Yeah, I understand. Like it's so much, and even the style you do, it's R&B, and Nigeria is known to have so much of Afrobeats. Like, how do you cope up with doing R&B
Yeah.
in the country that does like 90% of Afrobeats?
You know, for me, it's I'm doing great. For me, it's different. A lot of things that one of the things a lot of artists need to know is you need to stand the test of time. You need to always create a path for yourself. I'm one artist who likes to stand out. I don't like to be part of the bandwagon. I always want to stand out, be different, and be great at what I do. So, I mean, for me, it's been great. I've been one of the top artists in the country. I um, I mean, have endorsements to my name, have multi awards to my name, and I mean, I'm just content, you know, like, and I'm focused on my music, my genre of music, and trying to let the world know that African music is just beyond Africa. Amazing artists in Africa who could do rock, who could do R&B the way the world does it. You know, so for me, it's all about taking our African R&B and letting the world know that we are dope and we're good at what we do.
And now let's talk about that. Let's focus on that. Like the Nigerian music is leading worldwide, and you among the people who have made that happen. And like I want to know what was your secret to make that happen.
So shout out to first of all, like, before I big up my country, shout out to every African musician because I think it's been a collective push, regardless of the fact that Nigeria is in the forefront. Trust me, we have musicians from Rwanda, musicians from Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, Egypt, Morocco that have been doing good to push the African music. But for we down here, the secret to our success is the fact that we refuse to accept no. Like we don't want to hear that it's impossible. We believe in making the impossible possible. So we're very persistent. Like we're very persistent. We like to push, you know, and it's been a trait that has actually really worked for us because we've told ourselves that there's nothing like impossible. Any impossible is possible. So we like to make the impossible possible. So we'll always go out, pushing, hustling hard, trying to network, and I mean just show the world that okay, this is what we can do. So I mean I would say that's been our secret.
And ending the interview, like what can you tell your fans in Rwanda?
So first of all, I'd like to big shout out to my friends in Rwanda. Like I have in my Instagram, I get like DMs asking me, Praiz, when you come to Rwanda. And one thing I know for sure is once the pandemic, when the quarantine period, the lockdown is over, I will be touring East Africa, and trust me, Rwanda is on top of my list. I look forward to coming down there, and I mean, I heard it's a very neat, clean, and beautiful country. And trust me, I look forward to visiting Rwanda.
Okay, Praiz, like I want to thank you for having you. Like thank you so much for taking your time to come and talk to us.
Yes, sir.
So we've been having Praiz, and of course let's watch one of his songs, which is called Madu, and of course I'll be right back.